Aw.
Not like that stress. I just was hanging out with people and I was like, this is weird. I don't think this is super safe. Oh well.
Yeah, when I
Or
read
something.
fiction, actually, sometimes like when I read fiction and people are like meeting, I'm like, is that safe?
Yeah. Watch TV shows and you're like, why are you getting so close to each other?
I
Seriously.
saw there was an episode of Schitt's Creek that was like a party that I watched like a month or two
Mm.
ago, and it just made me so nostalgic for parties.
Mm.
Oh well.
Well, with that, I think we should probably get this ball rolling. We have some extra business to get through today because we want to hear. The hang went really well yesterday. Everyone who came, we played a lot of Scribblio,
Yes.
and it was fantastic. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Hopefully, we'll have more hangouts soon. We do have the salon night coming up in a week. And so if you are interested in performing anything or reciting poetry or just standing in front of camera for 5 to 10 minutes, whatever you want. Yes, both. I need to close the chat. This is going to be continually distracting. Please let us know soon so that we can make a program and just like know how long it's going to be and be able to put everything together. How much time? You can do two different things. I think we tend to
Depends on how
say
many people. It depends on
Yeah.
how many people sign up.
like somewhere in between 5 to 10 minutes is usually a good estimate. Yeah, if we have extra time, we can give you a 15-minute late improv slot if you want. I can't. Um,
Can quick people, like, if you think you might be performing, can you like, can somebody shout out names or something or tell me?
This is for salon night, yes? I'd be down.
Yes. Okay.
I'm in the process of recording something.
Right. Okay.
Can someone remind me when the salon night is going to be?
it will be
Saturday.
4 p.m.
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, sorry.
I'd probably be down to do something. I just haven't had much time to think about what that would be.
Good.
Oh wait, 7 p.m. is like.
No, 4 p.m.
Oh, okay, 4 p.m.
It's going to be, I think, maybe, is that midnight? For
4 p.m. is not midnight.
No.
Should be 8
3
or 9
hours
o'clock in
later than
Britain.
right now.
Yeah,
Isn't it 9 for us?
yeah, because we just adjusted, like America just adjusted, so it should be 9.
I think so.
3
yeah.
hours later than right now.
Okay. I feel like I might be able to read a poem if there's like space and something is needed, but I'm not like burning to do something.
Okay.
Okay.
Daniel looks like he's in some kind of horror movie.
I feel like we are in a horror movie.
2020 is a horror movie.
Yeah.
I'll play something. I don't know what. I'll have something.
Okay. Yeah, if you could just send Shoshana and I a message on Slack or something with whatever you're going to play when you know what you're going to play. And if can we say like a deadline by like Wednesday to give us the title of that so that we can put the program together.
Okay, like deadline for Wednesday, but like also we probably won't like
Yeah.
turn you away later than that.
Also, this week
So it's first come,
may
first
be
served.
weird.
Oh yeah.
Especially for people in the US. And we understand that. So do whatever you need to take care of yourself. We are here.
All right.
I did not understand. I thought you meant like scheduling wise. Now I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, we're gonna change all the times just to get you out of your heads for the week, you know. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll have spaces and commiserate in the chat if things happen. Who knows? I don't want to say too much now because hopefully everything will be fine. Or
We
something.
may not know anything this week.
And we may not know. This is very true. Although I've heard that, yeah, without Florida, Trump probably can't win, and Florida is likely to report on November 3rd. So that'll be something. But anyway, aside from that, business-wise, I think we just want to get updates on your groups.
I'm just gonna say I voted absentee. Yes, this happened.
Yes. Oh my God! Please vote if you haven't already.
Because
Vote
like
early, vote often,
A
yes,
little late to
multiple
vote.
times.
if you can, if you are eligible, yes.
Oh my God, late chat.
I
can't keep all
definitely
the
thought that
chats
was
straight.
Shannon. I thought it was Shannon who'd been changing her name the whole time, and I was like, turning 21?
Baby.
Wait, what day is Inauguration Day?
January 20.
My birthday is January 19th.
Oh, you're like the same person.
Well,
Turning 21, Peter?
I'm turning
yeah, Peter's
21.
turning 21.
For the rest of my life. I'm turning 21. No, I'd want to have like a 40th birthday for the rest of my life. I feel like that would be a fun one. Very mature, seasoned. Anyway,
Have a 35th birthday every year and just have a Sondheim musical.
oh God. Let's talk about groups. We just want to get a brief update on how you're doing. We want to get those milestones. We would love that in writing sometime this week so that for the next couple weeks when we check in on Sundays, we kind of know what to ask you for and we can have meetings with you if things aren't going the way you want or if you need help adjusting expectations, whatever it is. So if you can put those in writing at some point and send them to us this week, I would say like in the next couple days, just so that we have it. I know we're trying not to be stressful with deadlines, but
Yeah, they can be as specific or as open as you want, I think. So like it's like mostly so that like we have an idea of what's going on and we can help hold you to stuff if you need. Well, I don't know, you have groups, so maybe it's good. Maybe you're holding each other to things just fine. I don't know. But
yeah, so right now I think we'll just go down the 5 groups and just ask for a quick update from a representative. So can we just start with group 1? How are things going?
Going good. We're having another meeting after this big group meeting, so we'll be doing that. So I did make a list of deadlines and kind of milestones for us. I don't know if everybody's looked at those, but if we want to go over those, if we feel like we need to change some of them, we can do that during our meeting, and I can send them to Peter afterwards.
So far, we have a pretty strong grasp of what our narrative is going to be. The idea is a deal with the devil. Although the devil is not necessarily an evil person, and also the deal is not something. The deal is, although we're a little fuzzy right now, to somehow. The narrator, tired of this ordinary world, which is a little bit cruel and unkind, somehow enters a kinder world by this deal with the devil. Unfortunately, something is unwelcome about it, and then they come back to the real one at the end. So sort of a circular kind of thing, but not without learning something or gaining some new insight. That's the idea. We're all sort of writing our motives, the motives on our own, and we're hopefully going to use those as a sort of vocabulary to tie all of our parts of the thing together. As for how our stuff is going, well, we're meeting today, and everyone has been like accounted for, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. I've set the deadline for now for the motives for November 4th. That way we get a bit of time to think about those.
Oh, good. I didn't have to do it by today. Oh.
No. Yeah,
Okay.
You have time. Check the list. If anybody has any issues with November 4th as a deadline, please let me know. We can talk about changing it, extending it if need be. Yeah. Check the Slack. I have the list pinned. So
Amanda has us really on task, so yeah.
Yeah, it sounds great.
yeah, it sounds very organized and I love it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Please send us those milestones when you talked with everyone today, but it sounds like you're on track and that's great. Let us know if anything comes up that we can help with.
Of course.
Group 2. So I would say that we are not doing so well, and I think that trouble really is that we haven't managed to get everyone together. So we've been posting about trying to schedule a meeting in the Slack group chat, but so far I don't think we've heard from everybody, and we haven't managed to set up a meeting where we can all be together. So Daniel and I have talked in person a few times. We've talked once with Julie, but we haven't talked about the project yet with the other people. So I guess I've certainly been a bit hesitant to kind of decide anything without everybody's involvement, and to take the project too far forward in case then they come and say, actually, we're not really too keen on that. But obviously, if we don't get in touch with those people, then we might have to sort of move forward with it. But I guess we can try reaching out by email and see if maybe they're not very good at checking the Slack, but maybe that would be a better channel for keeping in contact.
Okay, that sounds good. I think if you don't hear from everyone in the next couple days, maybe we will help you try to set up a meeting with everyone. And after that, if we don't get everyone to come, you should feel free to go ahead.
I think you should feel free to go ahead now. It's been like 2 weeks. Like I don't think you should be putting off decisions. But but why don't we try to meet maybe with at least Isabel and Daniel, and then maybe Julie, if she can come, maybe we'll meet and just touch base and see what we can do.
That sounds good.
Yeah, sorry about that. We'll try to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully we'll get you on track this week. Group 3. Is anyone here from group 3?
Is that us?
Is that us?
I think so.
Are we 3 or 5? I don't remember.
I think you're 3. Because I think it's yeah.
Well, we have a Google Drive folder, and we've been basically just dropping material to work with there. We've got a selection of quotes, some videos, some sounds, songs that have come to mind for one reason or another, and, various other things. So that's been really good. And we've got a nice variety of, video and photos. And there seems to be a general theme of trains.
Yeah, so I think the goal was to try to get all of this kind of material stuff more or less gathered by today. So I guess in the next few days, we're just going to start figuring out how that all fits together. Yeah, I guess the one thing is we haven't really heard from Tyler, but I think that was expected.
Yeah, because campaign stuff.
Yeah, hopefully they'll free up soon.
Yeah.
Have you gotten together any sort of milestones or checkpoints, thinking to the end of the program?
I think the plan was to have all, I think the main thing we planned was to have all sort of final materials in by 3 weeks from today. But we didn't have any other I don't think we came up with any other specific deadlines, partly because we still don't know too specifically what this is going to look like still.
Or who's doing what.
Yeah.
So I think we needed to see what material comes in first and start kind of meeting and thinking about what we're doing.
But we do know that that final week will be production hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just so you know, the final presentations are 3 weeks from yesterday.
Wait, 3 weeks from yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, November 21st.
Oh, sorry, I got my time wrong. Yeah. Okay, then that's 2 weeks from today.
Just to make sure you don't get everything together and then think you have an extra week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it would be great if you could come up with a couple more things, even just on a weekly basis, so that it feels like you can make smaller progress. Sometimes it's daunting to have the whole project outstanding, but that sounds like it's good. Group 4.
Is that us? Okay.
Cool.
I was never sure about the number actually. So it looks like me and Lucy are here. So if we sort of have a concept, we don't have like a exact plan of action yet, but
Yeah.
we've been able to meet with most of the group. But we have pretty much the same thing that I said at the last meeting with the tech workshop with Luke. Nothing has really changed since then. So
Yeah, we've talked a bit about general concepts, but not really specifics, and we're having a little bit, I don't know, everyone seems busy, and so we're having some trouble getting all together in the same place. That's been the main thing.
Have you been able to touch base with everyone in your group?
Yes, everyone has like responded at some point, but it's been a little bit, Lily seems really busy and stressed out.
I think Lily's a little more free now, actually.
Oh, great.
I just saw her last night, actually. So.
Oh, awesome.
She like just
Yeah,
released
she's
her album.
having like
Yeah.
she's having a lot of trouble finishing up her album, but I think she should be fine now.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, well, keep us updated, I think.
Sure.
It makes a lot of sense. I don't know, it's hard to work with that. It's just like everyone's busy. Understandable. But like let us know if there's anything we can do to help also.
Yeah, hopefully we can sort out a lot more this week and then we'll be good.
Cool.
And last but not least, group 5.
We're having a meeting after this. So far, we've met once and came up with generally what it is we have to do. We haven't come up with the time frame for that yet, but hopefully we'll come up with that today. And Clarissa made a nice draft of our score for the production of more scores. So we already have a bit sketched out. Anything you want to add, Ahmed, Alexa?
That just about sums it up, I think. We're sort of working with that draft now and are going to make a time frame for like how we're going to use it and play with it.
Yeah, and I think the plan is to start like trialing what this looks like, hopefully sometime this week. And just like, just doing a couple of, like seeing what does playing the game look like, feel like, and just like having that sort of feedback loop process of editing the rules, changing how that, and like going back and forth between it. We've been having a lot of philosophical discussions, I would say, about like what level, like what are the rules of the game, and what is the fine line between open-ended and too open-ended. But yeah, it's been fun. We're working on it. It's a little bit crazy. I feel like I'm out of the loop a lot because I'm 8 hours ahead now. So it's, I like get messages sometimes, the day after, but we're making it work and it's exciting.
Okay, that sounds like you are all on a pretty good path with that. And it's also a very nice segue into our topic for today. Is there anything else that we need to talk about, Shoshana? I think we covered everything, right?
I think that's everything. Yeah.
Okay. Then we are going to segue into our general meeting stuff, which is, lo and behold, games and their relation to art and games made out of art and art made out of games and everything. Great. But anyway, I think we have a little bit of an introduction about games, and then we'll talk about how games might be defined, what makes up a game. We have a couple of musical examples of games. And then the overarching thing for today is that we're going to split people up into breakout rooms, and we're going to have you all devise a game together to be played using people and Zoom and anything else that can be easily accessible within the spaces. And then we'll come back at the end, and hopefully for the last 15-20 minutes we'll play the games and have a discussion. We'll probably only have 2 breakout rooms with this many people? John and Shoshana, is that maybe 3 breakout rooms?
I like 3
Yeah, I
personally.
think 3.
For this
Okay,
group.
so then we'll have 3 breakout rooms. So we'll have 3 games. But yeah, I think we'll just jump into it. I think we should start talking about the musical examples of games first, and then we'll start talking a little bit more broadly about other games in a second.
Yeah, the general. Yeah, I guess you just told about the general plan, but we want to talk about the general. We're going to talk about examples of games, and then talk a little bit about what might go into a game, and then start doing our own. Might have said that. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. So let's talk about some musical examples, or rather examples of musical games. When you think musical game, I'm curious, what is the shining example that comes to mind for people, if there is one at all?
Musical chairs.
Oh, yeah.
That is a really good one that we did not
That is
think of.
so far removed from the direction we were going, and I love
thought of
it.
that too. Oh,
Okay.
does stuff like Guitar Hero count, or is that not what you were thinking of either?
Okay, clearly this is
No,
is
Guitar Hero
actually-
definitely counts.
This is mirroring pretty closely the first conversation that the 3 of us had about what this meeting would look like. Peter or Shoshana said, okay, we want to talk about games, about musical games or something. And I thought that meant game music. I thought that meant like video games that engage with music in a significant way. But that wasn't the plan at all. So obviously we are right off the bat establishing that this is broad. This could include anything. So what if we limit it just for now to the idea of a performance on stage in a concert hall-like environment that is not just a performance of a piece of music, but rather an engagement with a game in some way? Any ideas? I'm just curious if everyone's like, yeah, this, and everyone says the same thing, or if we're all in different places with different ideas, which would be awesome.
Like some kind of a like a musical element bingo.
Musical bingo. That sounds fun. I don't even know what that would be.
Giant chess, but each one has a speaker in it. This is great. I feel like we should run with this brainstorm and just come up with any ideas of games that is related to music and or art. Just drop them in the chat, shout them out. One sentence story, but with music.
What goes into the score is $600 card game.
It's a piece Xenia Gilbert wrote.
Oh.
It takes the form of a deck of cards that has like phrases written on it or something.
Oh yeah, there's a few text scores that are in deck of cards medium. I was thinking, what if 3 improv prompts that are metaphorically inspired by hide and seek? The
How
game,
so?
not the Imogen Heap song.
Oh, that makes it less exciting.
What? Something
cage.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this closely interfaces with the idea of chance, right? Which we would of course associate with Cage. The idea that by introducing game elements into a piece, we are inherently making it unplanned. We're inherently making it unknown. And that we have some ideas, some examples that are sort of at different points on that spectrum of known versus unknown, predetermined versus completely non-predetermined. Xenakis, yeah. Cobra, yeah. Oh, right off the bat, those are the 2 that we had in
Those
mind
are money
earlier.
shots.
DDR.
DDR. Oh my god, such a good example.
Really good at DDR.
I definitely played DDR at a competitive level.
Whoa.
I want to see that.
You're probably better than I am.
For anybody who knows what this means, I passed the Legend of Max.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Oh my
what that
I
is.
don't, but I'm still impressed.
Whoever Z chat and said "bop it," I love that example. That one taiko drumming game. What?
Taiko no Tatsujin. It's so good.
It's like Guitar Hero for Taiko or something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the way that one works is that you have the big taiko drum. You literally pick up drumsticks, and the thing on screen is telling you whether to hit the inside or the rim, and you should do it in rhythm, and it's lots of fun.
Like Bop It is a really interesting one because I would say that's definitely like a sound game
Yeah.
because you can put it on like sound and then you have to recognize the sound.
But it's like rhythmic based at its core. It's like you have to follow a certain beat.
That's true. Well, I haven't played Bop It in a long time.
Sort of. I mean, you can do it early. You just have to be within a certain length of time, a certain duration.
It's really showing you how much space exists within one beat.
But it like works so
teaching
much.
you about
It
the
works so much
blues
better
and-
if you do it in rhythm though. If you're like,
Up
you know, like,
it, twist it. It's like, yeah, you get some fun syncopation.
oh my God. Oh no.
Contrapuntal patty cake war.
Name that song trivia count. I definitely think that counts.
John, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of this, but there was a video of two women on a ship in the Mediterranean Sea that went viral in February, and they realized that they both knew this game that involves clapping your hands together in various ways while singing in unison, but one of the people wins.
Oh yeah.
And neither of them spoke the same language, but they were playing the game, and everybody else was enthralled by it and took videos.
Wow. I mean, that's beautiful, but also I don't remember that at all. But also February was at least a couple lifetimes ago. So
Also, a lot happened in February. This was kind of, and it might have specifically been on the Spanish-speaking internet. I don't know.
Well,
there's so much video game love. I think so. We came up with a couple examples that we wanted to dive a little into that were not video based.
no, they're very much
This is going.
They push the boundaries within the very narrow slice of culture of stage performances in a concert setting. But relative to all cultural expressions of games, I mean, these are as old school and old fashioned as you can get, just about. Someone did mention Xenakis, though. I don't want to scroll up to find it, but yeah. What Xenakis piece did you have in mind, Laura?
I mean, it wasn't specifically the piece per se, it was more the process of, because, you know, he would create these architectural designs and he'd use stochastics to find a lot of his material. So that was just me thinking about Cage, chance. Okay, let's look at like more probability things. Hey, Xenakis. So
yeah, for sure. So Xenakis has a piece, wrote a piece in 1959 called Duel. Does anybody here know it?
Ah, yes. I guess that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Duel is a piece for two orchestras with two separate conductors, or chefs, as they're called in the title of the French score, which I just love. Like for two orchestras and two chefs. That's so much more fun to imagine for me. And it is literally a game between the two conductors. And we're going to talk a little bit about, like, not game theory necessarily, but like theory of game, like what makes a game. And one aspect that often comes up in different definitions of games is that there's some sort of conflict, some sort of competition between participants. And in the case of Xenakis's Duel, the conductors are trying to win the game against each other. They literally have in front of them a matrix of different decisions they can make in response to what choices the other conductor made that add up to points, that give them points, and they're trying to get the most points and win the game. And yet the mechanism of gameplay is to choose different pre-composed musical cues and conduct them from your orchestra, which is so bonkers to me, like to have the idea to combine those two forces, like conducting an orchestra and trying to get points against the other conductor. It's this really strange amalgamation of wanting to create something that is inherently new, that is a musical game, while not being willing to let go of the role of the composer and the idea of composing these musical selections that are then performed by an orchestra. I want you to see that score, Seamus. I could not find it. unless you're talking about something earlier in the chat. But I was looking for this score. I wanted to find a PDF for today. I could not find it anywhere. But it's really, really curious as like a concept. And I honestly think it's more curious as a concept than it would be as an actual performance. But I have no evidence for that. Think of games as another way to generate patterns. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, it's another way of composing. The fact that Xenakis still has ultimate control over all the musical material, just not the temporal arrangement of that musical material, is what sort of bridges that gap between game and composition. It's still very much like a technique of composition. Peter or Shoshana, did you have more to say about Duel? Because I kind of want to segue right into Cobra, but I know Peter, especially you were interested in Duel. We can say more about it.
Like, I think it's just cool. I mean, we both just heard about it like an hour ago. So.
Okay, more to say, more to ask, more to do. I just didn't want to jump on before you were ready if you were still into Duel.
No.
But yeah, I think that really brings up an interesting question, this idea of like generating patterns and whether this process of creating a game piece is a product of composition, whether it is a composition technique, or whether it is a way around composing. It is a way of, what I might say to my composition students is outsourcing their composition, though I don't think Zorn would say this. But the example then is Cobra. Do people know Cobra? It's a pretty well-known work within a very small niche. I want to link that that PDF. Yeah, Cobra is a very open-ended work that is very much a game. It is more of a game, less of a piece of music, by John Zorn from, oh gosh, I forget the year. It says right on there, 84, great. So what is fascinating to me about Cobra is the fact that Zorn does not compose the musical material. Zorn does not specify anything about the musical material. The game is not about responding to what music was performed, as is the case in Duel by Xenakis, or as is the case in another example would be Plus Minus by Stockhausen. The game of Zorn is determining who is playing at any point in time, not what they are playing. And Zorn makes no decisions about what the musical material is. All those decisions are made in the moment by the performers, by the game players.
Yeah, I would classify it as like an improv game.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty solidly an improv game, but like with like very elaborate rule systems. Should I just go into trying to explain?
I want to say one more thing about it before you do, though. I want to keep in mind as we're talking about this idea of outcome, of competition that is very present in Xenakis Duel, that the conductors are trying to literally get the most points to win the game. That is a game, right? Games have winners and losers as we tend to think of them. And I'm curious how that fits in to an understanding of Cobra by Zorn. And I'm going to leave that open-ended and let Shoshana talk about it because she has a great close relationship with this piece.
That's maybe an overstatement.
She has a lousy close relationship with this piece.
Yeah, I had a class one time where we spent an entire class period trying to learn it. And trust me, that is like nowhere near enough time because it's very complex. It's actually kind of comprised of like a bunch of different smaller Zorn pieces that are also game pieces, but like they're less well known because they're kind of small, I don't know. Oh, this actually, the PDF I pulled up actually does kind of have rules, like a couple of the rules. But one of the most interesting things about this piece is that John Zorn actually asked for it to not be ever written down. So like there are no written rules because he like wanted it to be an oral tradition. And so you have to learn. Yeah, we should talk about conduction in a little bit because I vaguely learned about that. But yeah, essentially what happens in Cobra is there's a lot of like hand signals that means different things. So you can signal that you want to do a duet with someone else by pointing at them and pointing at a specific place on your face. And you can also like ask to there are a couple other things like where you have to switch, and if you're playing you have to stop playing, and if you're not playing you have to start playing. And there are like points in which the conductor points at everyone and you have to do like a very short sound. So the conductor really kind of has like a lot of control as to like what gets done, but the players all have to like ask for each thing to happen. And then once you get like another layer in, which we like barely talked about in my class, this is where the like possible competition aspect comes into Cobra. Is like there's actually a point at which you can like become a guerrilla leader, and you can like put a headband on, and then you don't have to listen to the conductor, and then you can like recruit people to be in your like on your like guerrilla team. And then like I don't remember the exact rules, but it's like if the conductor sees you put the headband on, you can't, I don't know, they like have to catch you giving a signal or something, but if they don't catch you, you can keep going. So it like actually does become a little bit of a competitive game. And I think I was really upset when we learned this because we didn't get to that part, and that seemed like definitely the fun part. But yeah, like if anyone's looking at the PDF, or I can show it really quick for a hot sec. You've got the like simple systems on the left, where those are like the whatever duets and trios and stuff like that, trades. And then the guerrilla systems are all on the right. We barely even looked at that, but it's like you get a squad leader, and if you have 2 other people, then you can do all of these other things. And I don't even know what they are. And I would really love to learn this game eventually, because it seems like it's like a lot of fun, and I think it's cool. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that, or like any experience that you want to talk about. And then yeah, I would encourage you to like watch a video of it, because like it just but they look like absolutely ridiculous, and it's very hard to tell what's going on. So yeah, there's that. Was that at all clear?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know the piece, and it's been helpful to have you explain it to me a couple times. So I think it was clear to me. I think like one of the most notable things about both Duel and Cobra is that there's a heavy like performance aspect to all of it. Mm-hmm. And like there has to be some sort of, I don't know, it's like there's kind of a binary of the game's either being played or it's not. You can't really rehearse the game. And like in Cobra's case, like the act of finding the game is part of the game. It's like you need to find someone who knows it to teach it to you. You have to learn it by playing it, and then you can teach it to other people. And like that seeking out of the game makes it so that if you know of it and you want to learn it, like you're playing the game from the moment you start following it. So like this sort of like omnipresent idea of like, when does a game start? When does a game end? And how, I don't know, you build that into the actual gameplay, or if it's something completely out of your control, I think is one of the parameters that like I am interested in games. Mm-hmm. And I think unless anybody has anything on Cobra or Duel specifically, I think we wanted to open it up to talk a little bit more about just like various parameters of what makes up a game. Like what are the variables involved? Like how can you call something a game? What needs to be happening? And yeah, I don't know. We can like probably throw up a whiteboard and take notes on it if that's helpful.
Thoughts?
Is that a request for someone to do that, or are you about to do that, Peter? Because I can.
I was hoping there would be like a lot of enthusiasm, and then it would be clear that that's what we should do.
Sorry.
John, you can do it if you want.
I will share an empty whiteboard just to pressure people into saying things, because who can stare at an empty whiteboard for that long?
Rules/guidelines.
So I spaced out because I'm a fool. Can you say the prompt again? Oh,
We're
what does the game
trying-
require? Okay.
Yep.
I think
Choices.
Can we just type?
Yeah, everybody should be able to like write or type wherever you want.
Oh, cool.
It's all yours.
I think
Okay.
that the concept of like, is competition necessary is like a really interesting one.
It's not.
Not necessary.
Think about collaborative board games, right? Like the Pandemic board game, which is collaborative, right? Or like Hanabi, which is collaborative. I don't know if you've played any of those.
Like yeah, but you're competing against something, right? Like you're competing against a clock or like against.
Is that really competition?
Like you're at least competing against an idea. Like I always wanted to make like a communist version of Monopoly where the goal was to make sure everybody had the same amount of money. So, like, there you would have to at least compete against the idea that
there is
you
a
want
communist
everybody.
version of Monopoly.
Is
and
there?
Called Monopoly.
It was the original game that Monopoly was made from.
Oh my
God.
Thanks, Laura. Has anyone here played Hanabi, the card game?
Yes.
Yeah, so right, like you're all collaborating in order to like get rid of everyone's cards together, and you're not competing against anyone except for yourselves, really.
You're not competing against other players, but you are competing against the concept of failure.
Is that really a competition? Because
that's my question.
I think that is a
we could
competition.
argue that it's not, but it feels like
it's like it's a competition against your. How do you say? I feel like,
Incompetence.
yeah, it's a competition against your own internal tendency to not work with people.
I guess.
I mean, I would say competition is an instance of different individuals each having a goal, and those goals not being compatible with each other. Like my goal is to win, your goal is to win. Those can't both happen, thus competition. Similarly with Hanabi, my goal is to get as many points as possible. That's the same for all of us. But then there's this other entity which is failure, and its goal is for us to not get 25 points. And one of those will win because they're not mutually compatible. I don't know. Does that feel too abstract?
No, I don't think so.
Like I don't know. I feel like if we weren't talking about games, we wouldn't be using the word competition. Like there's like opposing forces, but like do opposing forces compete with each other?
A common term in definitions of games is conflict rather than necessarily competition. There's some idea of conflict that we are trying to resolve, whether that is the conflict between different players who both want to win, or even just the conflict of I have not won yet. I have not yet completed my objective. How can I overcome that?
I feel like the term of game is just the game should be associated with fun, and I feel like a lot of the time, unfortunately, somewhere along the line, competition got thrown into game somehow, and so unfortunately, the concept of winning and competition has kind of.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
I like-
definitely a distinction
yeah.
between games and sports, because like a sport feels like something that is supposed to be won, but a game doesn't necessarily need to be, even though you play games within sports, you know?
Yeah, games, yeah.
Well, has anybody ever played Pandemic? You're playing against the game, not against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a huge trend of board games that are collaborative board games where people are playing against certain scenarios. Or like they're like the group of players who are playing the board game are trying to defeat a common enemy. I would say that competition is actually colored more by like what's at stake than anything else. I don't think that competition is inherently a bad thing. It's just that when people place too much value on their goal or like start, dehumanizing the other players in one way or another, is where it gets dicey. But I think that ultimately games are just like sets of rules to have fun in order to solve a problem or a puzzle. And solve implies that there is an end goal also. So I feel like games also maybe have an end goal, but I feel like I can think of games where that's not necessarily the case. unless the end goal is to not have an end goal, in which case, I don't know, that's a whole other Ouroboros.
Like, do games need to have rules? I feel like this is something that has always tripped me up. Because, like, if you think of a game, like, is improvisation a game?
Well,
And,
there's
like,
a way to improv, though. There is a way to improv and to not improv. There is a way to play a game and to not play a game. Like, rules are, like, basically, like, the ways that you take the steps to play the game.
Yeah, I feel like games require guidelines and structure in order for it to be a game.
Like if you're improvising, but you just start playing a piece from your solo repertoire, is that really improvising, even though that was the choice you made?
Yeah.
Like, I would argue yes.
Yeah, I think it ultimately just depends on the requirements and the guidelines that you're meeting in terms of within said game.
Games could also have emergent rules, so you can have card games where whenever you get a certain card, you get to make a new rule.
Oh, have you played Mao? That game is demonic.
Wow, that brings
Yeah.
me back to middle school.
Yeah, that's exactly. If you don't know, it's a game where you're not allowed to say what the rules are. And there are also all these random arcane rules that vary from group to group.
It's called Mao.
Yeah, it's great.
And
That's
if
funny.
if you do something wrong, you just get penalty, like over and over. It's really funny, but really cruel.
That's interesting. There's actually a game I saw a vlogger play with his family, or with his group of friends. It's like, I think it's called like 52 white cards, where everybody just makes up a set of cards of like blank pieces of paper that has certain rules, and you just kind of put them into play when it's your turn, and you have to follow those sets of rules. For example, one card could say that you have to everyone has to communicate via meowing.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Maybe I should just find that. I can find the vlog later where they play it.
No, I haven't played Nomic, Dan.
Mhm.
Nomic.
Wait, what about D&D? Somebody wrote D&D.
Oh, because that's really not a competitive thing, I guess.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah, that's interesting.
You're competing. It's like real life. You're competing against the.
You usually have
You're
objectives.
competing against the other.
Unless one of the players decides that they hate the other player's character, in which case then there's competition.
Yeah, it's all motivated by character. And
Does anyone here know? Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Julian.
Does anyone here know Electroplankton?
No.
No.
It's a DS game that is also a Smash stage. I don't know who here played Smash Brawl, but like, it's the stage with the leaves and the plankton that just jump out of the water and like hit the leaves and make music, because there's no stage music. The music is the stage. It's this DS game which doesn't really have an objective, and it's just like you make music by like letting plankton jump off of leaves and stuff and flowers and things.
It's like something out of Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah, so there's
I
no like,
deeply love Rhythm Heaven. Anyway.
there's no like objective. Like you can't get a good score or a bad score.
Interesting.
It just kind of happens.
So then the objective is to just let stuff happen. Like the game in that
guess so.
case is just for plankton to bounce off leaves and make music. There's like, yeah, it depends on what kind of game you're playing to have whether or not like the objective is numerical or value based.
That's true.
Yeah.
That reminds me. I used to play a lot of like just very casual Flash games back in high school and college, and there's definitely kind of a, how do you say, a category under the like Flash game heading that's I think there's a name for it, like
Dress-up games.
graphical toys or something like this.
Oh,
Things
never
that literally don't have, like, the one that I remember is one where you basically have like a Raggedy Ann doll or Raggedy Andy doll, just some kind of stick figure that you just kind of fling around the screen endlessly and it crashes into things.
Oh, I remember this. It was really cruel. Like you could be really mean to them. It was like Imaginary Buddy or something.
That sounds vaguely right, but yeah, I mean, it was very much just a Flash toy that did not have any objective or end point. You just sat there doing basically the same thing for as long as you felt like, you know, blowing off steam or wasting time. So I think that it's weird because it's like it's in a game type of medium, but it's very much, I think, not a game in the usual sense of the word.
So we're gonna shift gears just for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna go into breakouts. This is a great conversation. I think we want to apply it just for a couple minutes to get people's brains going, specifically to what kind of things could be done in a game if your variables are people in a Zoom room together. And let's say you also have the internet at your disposal. Like, what could you do? Like, what sort of rules could you make? What sort of spaces you could create? Whatever, and just toss a few things on the whiteboard. And we'll let this run for a couple minutes, and then we'll split you up into breakout rooms.
Mm.
I like how Ahmed has the power to kill someone for not knowing theater rules.
This vaguely reminds me, the other day I learned that there's like a subreddit where people just post about D&D drama, like where the dungeon master just turns into an asshole whose entire goal is to make everyone regret that they're involved in the first place.
Oh yeah. Does anybody watch Critical Role? Sorry, does anybody watch Critical Role? So a bunch of voice actors for cartoons, anime, and games they have a live stream series of their D&D game sessions, and it's called Critical Role. It's pretty awesome, but yeah, I think there's a lot of people who criticize certain players a lot of the time, and some of them lean towards hating one of the people or one of the people, or just kind of, some people really like to kind of criticize how people play D&D, and it's just kind of, yeah, you can see there's kind of like some gatekeeping, or people just kind of like, and some people are just like, you really need to stop. Their fun is not your fun. Anyways.